Alright, my friends out there, what's happening? Yours truly, Rockin' Dave the Real Deal, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Still love the Les Paul, my friends. That top just pops right out at you, man. Sometimes you go like that, it'll do that, then it like disappears, and it pops out, you know? Beautiful guitar. Alright, I'm hoping all is well, my friends out there, and we haven't been on a midday in a while. Old Man Dan, what is happening? I was checking out your morning stream. I didn't get time to leave a comment yet, but I will. But yeah, I really liked it, man. It's it's interesting. People will sometimes use those storages for rehearsals with a full band, and of course, I know you know that because you were playing in there as well. And as long as it doesn't bother anybody, and it's okay. Pooh Ninja, what is happening? It's a busy day here, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you. You too, brother. You too, man. Well, first of all, I want to give a quick shout out to a good friend, well, Old Man Dan, of course, and Pooh Ninja, and Joe Winch from the Joe Winch Project. Joe just put up a couple of videos, a couple of days ago. Janice Lala, what's happening, dear? Cheers. Joe Winch. We have a cup of Joe and a Joe Winch Project cup. And I don't know if you're going to go forward with renaming your channel, Janice. It'll be interesting. You know, it's always be cool to be a little creative out there, you know. So, yeah, and I want to give a shout out to everybody in the guitar community that came together for Joe. That was awesome. Let's see if I can this. I'm only going to be on for like maybe another half hour. I'll just watch Old Man Dan, and after this, yeah, we'll watch Pooh. Yeah, I'll check it out when I can, because once I leave and I do my driving gig, I can't be on this phone. But yeah, I want to give everyone that was really cool. Everyone in the guitar community came out and came together, and I know I missed a couple of live streams, and I missed Joe's live stream, but we were gigging Friday. Last Friday we were gigging. I had 2 gigs Saturday. One was Yucatan's, and then we had to hurry up and tear down and drive to Miami, across the state there, and did our gig there. And when we got back, we did a live stream. We live streamed it, and it was for a 60th birthday party. A guy named Benjamin and his cousin, I believe. Her name was Heidi. But Benjamin played in a jazz fusion band called Stainless Steel, and in the late 80s and into the early 90s, they were getting very big. And as a matter of fact, they were opening up for Santana and doing these jazz fusion festivals. And his band was really unique because Benjamin played gongas and keyboards, and then he had 3 steel drum players in this band, and they were just kind of rocking out. Very unique. So, needless to say, we didn't have time to do anything, get on anyone's channels with the live stream, because we've been going and going and going, and that's just how that works. But it was really cool to see that everyone was coming together for Joe, and that was really great. Joe, as we know, Joe Winch is a great guy, great guitar player, and just so happy that he is. It's going to be a slow progress, but he's making progress, and that's what's important, is he's making progress there. So, we're all getting older, man. So the clock moves forward, not backwards. Even when you put the clock back an hour, like which will be coming up shortly this fall, it still moves forward, And speaking of moving forward, a couple other shout-outs I want to give is there is a channel called Guitar and Tabs. Guitar, the leather, and tabs. And I want to give him a great shout-out. He's a great guy. He just put up a video. He was doing in-depth editing on the Boss GT100, but he also has put up a lot of videos on the Boss GT1, and his videos are very clear, easy to understand. And what I like about the GT1 is, if you get on Boss's Tone Central, if you hook it up to the computer, you could do a lot with that. But also the unit itself, he showed a few videos where how you could just edit it right there on the screen, right there on the fly, and which is the videos I've used to help move patches around, and his videos, and there was a couple others where I hook up the Digitech foot switch. This will work with the Boss GT1. What's cool with this is you can assign it to turn on. For instance, I have this sign where I could turn on and off, let's say, my phase shifter, and this one could be my delay, and then this could be both of them at the same time, or either one. Or if a certain patch I don't have it set for turning on and off effects, this one could be like a booster within that patch. So it's great. It works out great. So I want to give him a good shout out, because if anyone's got questions on the GT1 or the Boss GT100, he's a really good go-to channel for that. His channel is Guitar and Tabs. Another guy I want to give a good shout out to is this guy is down here, but he's further. He's down here in Florida, but he's up in the Bradenton, north of Sarasota, around the Tampa area, Bradenton area. His name is Jason Stallworth, and he's got a metal. His channel really is geared to metal guitar. And he'll do like 80s metal and shred metal, but then he also does live acoustic gigs. And he's been posting up. His last post he did was 2 gigs in one day, and what he goes through, and how he'll have his wife come up and sing with him, but he'll show his adventures in the gigging world. And yeah, Jason, you're right, man. Down here in Florida, it gets very hot, man. You have a change of clothes, and as you know, our rain season, it just rains and rains and rains. That's why it's also a good idea to have an extra pair of shoes. Like for us down here, the dirt is like very sandy, and when you have foot switches and effect pedals, they have these type of foot switches. You gotta watch out that sand does not get in here. You kind of clean it out. Plus these switches being like a metal, alloy metal. Just depending on how close you are. A lot of these gigs were waterfront, so it's the salt water and the salt in the air over the course of time could corrode these. And I never really thought about that. And using the GT1, the foot switches are plastic and they're thick. I don't seem to have any issues. Now, I've only had this pedal since April, so the real test is next April and beyond. And if it could really hold its own, then yeah, it proved itself to be a great unit, because it is a great sounding unit. I'm talking about the Boss GT1 going directly into powered speaker or a mixing board. When you're going direct, the sound engine in there is great, and the amp sims and speaker sims seem to work for what I'm using, and that's, trust me, it's if you could get a good sound out of spending less money, you'll come out ahead. You really will. But all those other products, Head Rush, great units. The Helix, the Kemper, especially the Kemper. One of my friends and guitar student, he's got a Kemper, and I'm just amazed. I don't know if I would bring it out to outdoor gigs down here. Not all of them. Special ones, yeah, but not all of them. I like the indoor gigs, but the outdoor gigs, it gets brutal. It can get brutal on the gear. So I try to, when I'm done with the gig, try to wipe the pedals off, especially when I get home, because we got a lot of sand and dirt and all that. So that's why it's a good idea to bring an extra pair of shoes. Really, no matter where you're at, because think about it, you're stepping through mud or anything, or dirt or grassy area. You get all that dirt that gets in the bottom of your shoes when you're hitting your pedals. Guess where it's going? You got something expensive. You don't want to damage it. So, but yeah, and so yeah, Jason's got a great channel, Jason Stallworth, and you can tell the guy works out, man. He's definitely got great channel. He's not abandoning metal. He's another good example of a guy that loves and plays metal, but also plays another style of music. And when he's doing his acoustic gigs, yeah, he'll do like 70s and 80s, and he'll throw in like 80s metal, like power ballads, on the acoustic, which I think that's great. So he's got his own type of niche, which could be important, because this is going to kind of open up this topic right here about having some sort of a backup plan. Um, we have a place that we play. We only did one gig at this place, but we met the guy. I'm pretty sure it was him that we met when we were with the first time we were with the Cape Coral Chamber of Commerce. We were at a function and he catered in some food. His name was Anthony. The restaurant was called Anthony's on the Boulevard down here in Cape Coral on Del Prado Parkway. So anyone is down here in the Cape Coral Fort Myers area, and if you played there, you know who I'm talking about. Well, sadly, he passed away about almost 2 weeks ago. And I drive past like 4 times a day, and I saw the sign. I knew there was something going on because the Wednesday seemed to be closed when before it wasn't. And then like a week after that, then I saw on the marquee, R.I.P. Tony or Anthony, we're gonna miss you. And I thought, oh man. So thoughts and prayers go out to Tony, his family, and it's real sad, tragic. We hope that you guys can get through this. It's tough. It's very tough. And like I said, if that's the guy that I met at the Cape Coral chamber meeting, then yeah, Tony was a real good guy. And I did play there with Mike. We did a gig there, and it was a nice place, really nice place. And so they're temporarily closed. Hopefully, it after the family grieves. I know it's tough. If it's in their heart to keep it going, if Tony would have wanted to continue, then if they could get the energy um, and the want to, to move forward and keep it Anthony's on the Boulevard, or if they bring in another investor, sometimes this happens. Hopefully, that person will say, you know what, if this is what Tony would have wanted, we're going to keep it Anthony's on the Boulevard, honor his name, honor his legacy. But this is why I say to have a backup plan, especially if you're going to do, live music. And if you're going to try to supplement your income or make it your full-time gig. It could be very challenging, especially if you're doing it as your sole source of income and if you're doing it as doing nothing but covers. If you can do covers, hey, that's great. They do. It's an easy sell. Absolutely, you're bringing people back to the good old days. You're bringing those memories back. So I agree 100%. And another guy that's got a good channel, before I forget, is it's called the Solo Gigging Life. His name is Jeffrey Dean. He's in the California Big Bear area, and he does a lot of solo acoustic gigs. And I agree with him. He'll have it where he is, you know, bringing back all these memories for these people. Taking them back. Everybody wants to relive their youth, right? And I do agree with him and Jason. Always update your set list and that. Um, if you could do covers, it's my opinion. It's important to have your niche to it, and have a likable personality and be easy to work with, and it'll be very easy to get gigs. But you do have to keep this in mind when you have situations like this happen. Because Anthony's on the Boulevard for now, it's going on 2 weeks. They've been closed. They're temporarily closed. So the people that play there, they have to, rethink and stand by the owners, absolutely. But now you're losing money if that's your sole source of income. Then you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying this um, as a bad thing. I'm just saying this as a reality to just keep this in mind. If you have money saved up, that's great. If you don't have to buy gear, you don't have to buy things, and that is like one of, if not your main source of income, is the gigging. You know, be careful what you spend. Just watch your money. And people do what they want. That's up to them. But just keep this in mind because anything could happen. Now I wish at first when I saw he was closed, Anthony's when he's closed on Wednesday, I thought, well, maybe football season's coming. Maybe he's going to kind of rethink the entertainment, and maybe just try something different. And maybe instead of having people playing 6 nights a week, maybe he was going to drop it down to 3 nights a week and then have something else. And that happens. And quite frankly, I wish it would have been that outcome rather than this outcome, than him passing away. Um, so I have friends that I would talk to about this from time to time, and then when I would meet people at the music store, and we would talk. And, um, I think it's very easy to get locked in the fact that you will always have that gig until something happens and something changes, and then it's like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Because if you're averaging, make the numbers simple. If you're averaging $150 per gig, you know, and you're there four times a month, well, you're talking $600 a month. And if it's a solid gig, it's easy to get caught up in saying, okay, well, I got the 600 a month coming in, so we're good there. But anything could happen where that could change like that. And now, if it's a situation where the place is going to change, totally change, well, there went that income. And at first, when I had these conversations, with some of my friends, and we would talk, and people, we joke and kid around, especially guys, we joke and kid around with each other, and that's why I'm so thankful for having my driving gig, because I know that's solid income. Plus, I got a pension, plus my health insurance. You're not going to get that with music unless you putting that money away, you know. And as we get older, these are things we've got to think about, because as we get older, our bodies are naturally going to start to slow down. That is the aging process. I don't, you can work out and all that, and that does help. Don't abuse yourself, obviously, but at the same time, you got to have that in the back of your mind that this is the aging process. And if you put yourself in stressful situations constantly, or where you're on the borderline of being stressed, then it's very easy to cross that border and get stressed. And now, when you compound that over a course of time, it's going to affect you, and it's going to have a negative effect. And then this is where people start noticing these things later on, down the road. They're like, I don't think I feel too good, man, or I got a headache and it just won't go away, or man, I just, man, I think I need to see the doctor. Something's not right. Um, and when something like that starts to happen, then that's when it's like, okay, I got to do something. I remember having a conversation with one of my friends, and we were joking, and he was like, I wouldn't go and do that type of a work, that type of a driving gig. Well, it works for me. So you have to do things that's going to work for you, first and foremost. Nowadays, you got Goober and Uber and all this other stuff, and, you know, but even now with those driving jobs, that cost of fuel is coming out of your pocket. So you got to make sure you're always on top of it. But you do what's feasible and what works for you. But it is a good idea to have that backup system, because anything happens, especially now. There seems to be a little bit of a trend I noticed, kind of like on the peak, where we're starting to hear more and more of the average listener out there. Now they're starting to say, we're getting a little bit bored with hearing the same music. Now, when I'm doing my gigs, yeah, I'm doing the same stuff because a lot of it is mine and I have to sell it, okay? But then I'm on an update of, writing new music and then going over some new other people's originals, what's known as covers. So I'm in that process as well. But it's really tough if you're doing nothing but covers, and especially if there's nothing unique. Some club owners go look at it like this: well, you know what? Times are getting tough. Gas price, diesel fuel price is tough. So my food orders is cost more, And if another band comes in and they're just as friendly as you, but they're gonna come in a few dollars cheaper, in their mind, they're gonna say, well, they're playing the same songs that you're playing, so my guests are gonna hear the same songs because even my customers are telling me it's a different band, but it's the same songs. So, and I'm not knocking it because like I said, you're bringing back memories, but you got to keep that in mind because I've talked with people that all of a sudden something happens and it's like they're hitting a panic button. Like it's like their mood changes like night and day, you know, because now they're realizing, oh, I got to do something, and I was relying so much on this that I didn't think this one out properly, and now I'm in a situation financially where I have to make this much money, you know. Just think of it this way: just traveling from you could stay in the same town, same city, and just you're traveling. You could be traveling in your car. You could be putting miles on that vehicle, and then you got insurance. So you have to, just right there, even if your car is paid off, right there, there is a budget. That car has to be reliable. That's your piece of gear. That's getting you back and forth to work. So the more that gets neglected, the more you're going to be not calling in sick. You're going to be calling saying, I can't make it in because my car broke down. So you have to think some of these things out. Now, there's a lot of ways to supplement that income. Like I said, with Uber and Goober and all this other stuff. I think Joe Wentz started doing guitar lessons. Good for you, because what I'm going to say with that is you do not have to be a genius to teach. Just share what you know. It's how you go about it. Because there are people that got doctorate degrees and high degrees and all that, but yet they cannot make that connection to the average person. There's like some sort of mysterious barrier between the two, And sometimes when people come fresh out of college, I'm not gonna, but I am gonna say this, they'll tend to talk over a person because they're excited, they graduated, and you should be. That's hard work that you accomplish, but you got to keep in mind that not everybody goes to college or is able to go to college and understands that mindset. They don't understand it. So to me, a smart person is someone who knows how to come to that level to help build that person up, not talk down to that person and make them feel like, there's this huge gap, you know. But my point is that, yeah, teaching is definitely another way of supplementing income. You could do farmers markets, um, and get that awareness to all those other people. Because I'm gonna tell you, at a farmers market, you are always gonna have a lot of traffic, and you'd be very surprised how many restaurant owners go to a farmers market. And if they see what you're doing, they see you, they like you, and they start talking to you, they like your personality, then it opens up doors. You could even talk to, if you can't get a certain gig at a farmer's market, because let's say, there's like the way the farmers markets are set up, let's say they have four corners where they would have entertainment. And let's say they're all booked up. And let's say they're all booked up for a season. Well, one thing you could do is talk to the people that are running the market, ask them what it would cost to rent a booth, a table, preferably if you could do it on a corner, not where you're sandwiched in between people, because if you're going to play music, and just be honest, tell them what it is, and, see if they'll accept that, and then, but make sure that you'll say, I'm not going to be real loud, because I know there's going to be people talking with, there's going to be other vendors there, and they need to communicate with their customers, so it's not going to be loud. It is just to be able to say, this is what my business is, and this is what we do, and if you're interested, here's all our information. And plus, you could take a small, like the little Yamaha or Roland keyboard amp, or a little Yamaha amp, or even just your acoustic guitar. And I know people do not think about stuff like this, but because it gets overlooked. But you will be networking with a ton of people doing it that way, and it can open up doors. You just need to find out what the cost would be for that day, because farmers markets could run anywhere. We have them down here on Tuesdays. We have them down here on Saturdays. It is a good way to open up some doors. And there's your online marketing you could do, But if with all of that, it still kind of puts you a little bit in the hole. It doesn't really pull you out that much. And you do have this extra time. there's nothing wrong with me going to a music store, or just, you know, if you got doing a driving gig, if you got your CDL license, even like I said, if it's doing something that's non-musical, it's the whole purpose is help to bring in income, so you don't hit the panic button, because I've seen it. Like I said, I've seen it, and I've talked with people that were in that situation, and their outcome is it's not good. It's not pretty. They're like worried, and the gigs that they do have, they look like they're worried. Now there's an issue, and it's like they're not. They know that they're not at their peak performance because they got all this stress on their mind. So I think it's a good thing to look at all your options and have that backup plan, because it's not as easy as it looks, but it can be avoidable. It's something that can be avoidable, and it's just there's realities in life. You're gonna go through ups and downs, and music is no different. There's gonna be a lot of downs. There's gonna be a lot of ups. It's a wide roller coaster ride. It really is very wide. you know, up and down road, very hilly. But if you're prepared for it, it's not going to affect you as much. So I hope this video helps out. I just wanted to put this together and, do this live stream real quick. Because again, this morning I passed by, I know when I passed by Anthony's this afternoon, it's going to be the same thing. And again, we hope the family, whatever they decide, it's for the better for them. But if they decide to, let's keep this going, Tony would want this, and hopefully if they do have another investor come in to help out, hopefully that person is wise enough to say, hey, to the family, is this what Anthony would want? Okay, let's honor his wish, and let's keep it Anthony's on the boulevard, in honor of Anthony, and keep moving forward. And hopefully they'll have I think they've been in business like 27 years or something like that, maybe longer. So maybe they'll have another 27 years in business. And if they decide they have music, that's great. If not, it's whatever works for them. But keep in mind, as a musician, you could be doing this even to supplement your income. That's got to be always in the back of your mind. Anything could happen, and you got to be prepared for it. So, anyways, my friends, I hope this has been helpful. Deb and I will be doing our live stream Friday. As of right now, we know we're doing it. Last week we had the gig, so anything can pop up, but we'll keep you posted. But as it stands right now, we'll be going live with the D&D show probably Friday at Friday at probably around 8 o'clock, and we'll touch politics, but yeah, we'll keep you posted. So anyways, my friends, I hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon. You be safe, stay safe and strong. Until then, rock on and God bless you. Thank you so much for watching. We love you all. Have a great afternoon. Take care.